Hey everyone, this is Mukesh Otwani once again from learn-automation.com. Today we are going to start with object-oriented programming. Okay, so as the name says, object-oriented programming, it means now whatever programs we will be writing or whatever logics we will be writing, it will revolve around object. Okay, so we'll talk about what exactly is object. Okay, then we'll talk about what is class and why we are working with class and object. So let's begin. So let me quickly show you what exactly we are going to cover in this video. So this video is going to be a little long because I will be covering multiple things, but it's going to be very interesting, and this video will be the base for your object oriented programming. So watch the video till the end because this is the bread and butter for the upcoming sessions. Okay, so we'll talk about what is object, because we say object oriented programming, right? You should understand what is object. Then we'll talk about what exactly is class. And once you understand the basics of object and class, then I will show you how you can create a class, how you can create methods, and how you can create object. So do not get confused. I have mentioned, right, how to create methods. But till now, whatever lectures I have provided or whatever video I have recorded, I was always talking about function. But why I'm suddenly changing from function to methods, today you will get to know. Okay, so just watch out this video till the end and you will get to know the difference between method and functions. And once we are done with creation of class, method, object, I will show you how you can call the methods or how you can access the variables with the help of this object. Finally, we'll talk about the constructor in Python. We'll also have a dedicated video on constructor in detail, but we will also touch a quick part from the constructor side. Okay, that's the obvious one. We'll talk about the difference between method, function. Finally, we will be using self a lot in this video, so we'll also talk about what is self. So what is object? Okay, forget about the technical definition. Right now I'm talking to you, right? I'm using some headphones, I'm using some system, I'm using some mobile phones. Everything is an object, right? Everything that we're using is object. And when we talk about object, definitely each object will have some property. Okay, let's say if you take my example, my properties or my data would be my name, my height, my phone number, my address, or it can be my PAN card, Aadhaar card, driving license, anything. All the details would be nothing but my properties. But when you talk about my behaviors, my behaviors is I can talk, I can walk, I can eat, drink, I can teach. So these are my behaviors, or I will say these are my methods. So each object have certain properties, or I will say variables, or in simple words you can say data, and each object have certain behaviors, or you can call as a methods, and these methods will work upon the data that we have, or the variables or the properties. So object is nothing but a collection of variables, okay, in simple terms data, and the method which works on the data. Okay, so if you just see the small part I have mentioned here as a tip, that remember one thing, that in Python everything is an object. Okay, so once we move ahead we will be creating object. So when we say object, so we will call this as an instance of a class. Okay, just keep this point in mind. I will be repeating multiple times object or instance, so both are almost same, don't worry. Just to give you a clear idea, let's say I'm creating a class. Don't worry about the class. I will talk about the class now after this slide. So let's say I have created a class called person. Okay, so this class have three properties, or I will say variables, which is name, phone number, and let's say country. And I also have three different methods. Okay, or for the timing I will call this as a function so that you don't get confused. Let's say sing, run, and walk. But I have not created any object. But the moment I create object, let's say I have created one object out of this class. So you can see these three variables, right? Name, phone number, and country. You can see now when you create object, these object will have its own value. So this object, let's say this guy has a name called Akash. He has its own phone number and he has own value in the country field called India. He can sing, he can run, he can walk. So class was just a dummy blueprint for object. So using class, we can create an object. Can we create multiple object of a class? Definitely yes. I can create multiple instances or multiple object of a class. So with the same class, I can create another object, but this time I can feed another data. I can put another name, another phone number, and another country. And this object will be having same properties, or I will say behavior or methods, which is sing, run, and walk. I'm just giving you 2 objects right now, but there's no limit. Okay, you can create n number of objects from this class. So now you must have got an idea that class is nothing but a blueprint of object, and class can bind the data member and function together. So when I say data member, so you can see these properties, right? Name, phone number, and country. This is nothing but a data member, or I will say variables. And function together, these are the functions, right? Sing, run, walk. So with the help of class, we can bind data member and function together into a single entity called class. I hope you got the point of class and object. If not, then give me a couple of minutes. Let me create a basic class, object, some methods, and then I will show you. Okay, so let me switch back to the PyCharm. So this is the PyCharm. Let me quickly create another package. So let me just right click, new, and package, and I will say oops demo, object oriented programming concept demo. I got this package, and as usual we got this init.py file that we discussed already. Let me create a Python file. This time I will say this as a class demo. Yeah, let me just increase the font size. So how do we create the class? So before creating object, you need a class, right? Because you need a blueprint, then only you can create object. So just write a keyword called class, and you can see we are getting auto suggestion. Just type class, give a space, and give the class name. So I'm giving a class name as person, because this is what the example which I showed you, right? Put colon and hit enter, you will get the indentation. Now whatever you will write within this will be coming under a class. Okay, so let me create one variable. This variable name, let's say I will give as company name, or maybe I will just use the same properties which I showed you in the example. So I will create a function here. Okay, now what is the difference between function and method you will get now? So right now you can see I'm writing def, and I'm writing one function called hello world, or I will say, let me give some other name this time. Let me give welcome. The moment I write parenthesis, automatically this self is coming. Okay, so what is this self? I will tell you. Let me just quickly complete this program, and then we'll talk about what is this self, why it is coming automatically, what will be the consequences if I remove this self. Moment I hit enter, I will get again indentation. Now whatever I will write will be coming under this method. Let me just say print, and I will say hello Python. Okay, so this is my class, this is my method. Now let me show you how do we create object. How do we create object is very straightforward. First of all, you need to write the object name. In our case, I will give as P means person. You can give any name, equal to, then your class name. What is our class name? Is person, right? Just write person and pair of parentheses, and your object is ready. Now once your object is ready, you just need to say that object name. In our case it is P. I will put dot operator, and then I can call the methods that we created. So right now we have one method called welcome, so I will just say welcome, and the moment I save this file, right click, run, and you will see I'm getting this output which is hello Python. So what exactly we are doing, we are creating object of this person class which is P. Using this P object, I'm calling a method called welcome, and it is printing hello Python. Yeah, fair enough, very straightforward. Let me create one more method here. This time I will say, let's say hello world. Okay, this time again, the moment I give parenthesis, automatically PyCharm is adding self here. I'm just giving here hello world, and if I want to call this method again, I will say P dot hello world. Just right click, run as, yeah, and you can see we got the output. This is also a very straightforward. This is what we have seen earlier, that how do we create function. Here I'm calling method. So now let me show you a difference. Okay, so now let me do one thing. Let me simply keep this hello world, okay, outside this class. Okay, so you can see the moment I just remove this indentation, now this will not come under this class because I just removed the indentation. Now if I call this hello world, okay, how can I call this hello world? I can simply say hello world, and I should be able to call it because this does not belongs to any class now, right? So this welcome belongs to this class, but this hello world does not belongs to any class. So I can directly say hello world. But can I directly say welcome? You can see I'm not getting any option here. The reason is this welcome belongs to that class, which is person class, right? So I cannot call welcome method directly, but I can call this hello world function directly. So if I want to call welcome, I have to say p.welcome. Let me just run it. We got the same output. Okay, it says hello world missing one argument, positional argument self. Okay, this actually we need to remove. Okay, we don't need to give this the moment you are working outside the class. So I just removed it for your information as of now. Now here comes the main part. Okay, what I will do, I will just type that I will just print the type of hello world and welcome because both look same, right? This is also a set of statement, this is also set of statement. The only difference is welcome belongs to this class, but hello world is not coming under this class. It's just part of this Python file. The moment I say hello world, or let's say hello world, and I will simply remove this parenthesis. Okay, I will not call this function. I will just say hello world without parenthesis. Same thing I will do for p.welcome. I will just remove this parenthesis. Just right click, run. So you can see this hello world is actually a function, but if you talk about this welcome is a bound method of person class. Okay, that is the big difference. Function does not belongs to the class, but welcome or the methods, in our case, which is welcome method, this belongs to this class. So you can say method, this is a bound method of person class, but hello world is just a function. Okay, so you will frequently get this keyword now, function and method. So whenever we say method, it belongs to certain class, but when I say function, it does not belong to any class. Okay, I hope it is clear now. You will get more clarity once we move ahead. As of now, just remember this difference. This is more than enough to understand the difference now. Now let me create another class, okay, so that I can show you a few more examples. This time I will say class demo 2, and let me just open it, and let me just keep this within the class. Okay, and let me also pass the self. Now let's talk about the self now. What exactly is this self? The moment I say p equal to person, and when I say p.welcome, what is happening behind the scene? So other way of calling this welcome method would be just type class name, which is person in our case, then call the dot operator and call the method, which is welcome. And you can pass the object that we created called p. So what will happen internally, this p object will be passed here into a self. Okay, it means now it is referring to the current object, which is p. Okay, so the moment you run, you will get the same output, which is hello Python. So this statement or this statement, both are exactly same, but this is how you will see in most of the official documentation, or when you see some professional code, right? This is how we have to write. This is how internally it will get converted, but this will make your code more readable. Okay, so we'll continue with this one. So I will just comment this. So that is the reason the moment you say p.welcome, internally this object or this statement will evaluate into like this. The moment we say p is nothing but the object. This object will be passed here. So when I say self means instance of the current class. Okay, let me create one more example, then it will be very easy or clear to all of you. So let me create another method called sum, and the moment I hit parenthesis, automatically self is coming acceptable. Here I will accept number 1. Okay, I will say num1. Here I will accept num2, and what I will do, I will just simply say print num1 plus num2. Now how do we call this sum method? I will say p dot sum, and you can see it is asking me to pass 3 argument. Okay, internally it will pass 3, but we have to pass actually 2. Automatically internally it will also pass p object, so it is expecting num1 and num2. So let me pass 2 numbers, let's say 12 and 34. So it should do the calculation and we should get the result. Let me simply run, and we got the output as 46. Yeah, fair enough. So this is how we are creating methods, we are calling. And now let me set some properties. Okay, so this is actually a local variable, guys. So when I say num1 num2, these numbers are getting passed and we are getting this calculation. But what if I want to set some property or the variable of this class? Okay, so let's say I want to create 2 objects, and each object will have different set of properties. For example, I'm creating one object called Q, or maybe let me just remove all of them. Again, I will say P equal to person, okay, which is nothing but our class name. And then I will say P dot, let me set the name. Okay, I will use the same example. I want to set a name, this name, let's say Mukesh. Then I want to set, let's say, phone number. Okay, I will say number, let me be specific, it's a phone number, and let me give some phone number, some random, and again I will set some property, let's say country, and again I will set to India. So what exactly it will do, it will set these 3 properties, or which is nothing but variables, okay, for this particular object. Now let's say I want to create one more object. Okay, so this time I will say Q. I will use the same class, which is person in our case, and this time again let me simply use the same thing, and this time I will simply change it to, let's say, Akash. Let me change some dummy values, and this time let me just give another country. So this is how I'm creating 2 different objects. Sorry, let me change here as well. So what exactly I'm doing, I'm creating 2 objects. These 2 objects will definitely have the different set of properties, which is this and this. Okay, so let me simply print, I will say P dot name, and let me say Q dot name. Right click, run. So you can see I'm printing P dot name. So P is actually this object, and with this object I have 3 property associated. So name, phone, and country. I'm only accessing name, which is Mukesh, and here is Akash. What if I want country from the second object, which is Q? So I will say Q dot country, and this time I should get Mukesh and USA. So each object, as you can see, have its own set of properties, right? Now, is it possible to have some more field for a specific object? Yes, we can do that. What if I want to add one more property to P object called city, and I will give the city name as, let's say, Bangalore. So if I want to access city name from this P object, I will say P dot city. So it should give me my name. Then from Q object, it should give me country, which is USA, and for P object, the city should be Bangalore. Let's right click, run again, and you can see we got this. So what exactly we are doing, we are setting up the property for the specific object, and then we are accessing. Now, is it like the proper way to set the properties? Okay, if you have very small a program or very small application where you will be creating few objects, few properties, it's fine. But consider that you have to create 100 object, okay? Or maybe this object creation is dynamic, so you don't know how many times object will get created, how many properties will be set. So this is not going to help you a lot. This is just for your understanding I showed you. But the ideal way should be, we need to initialize this object value through a constructor. Okay, so we'll see how this constructor part works. I hope this is clear for you. Now, before we jump into constructor, I just want to debug this program and I want to show you how exactly internally these objects are getting created and these values are getting set. So I'm just adding a breakpoint at line number 22. Okay. Anyways, we are not using these methods, but anyways, we will keep them. And let me simply right click, debug. So you can see we got the debugger, okay, and here our debugger will start. So as you can see, we got two objects, one is P, one is Q. So the moment I open P, okay, let me just, keep it in a maximize mode. Yeah. So P object have 4 properties: city, country, name, and phone number. And you can see it's Bangalore, India, Mukesh, and phone number is in integer format. Same for Q. For Q we have 3 properties: country, name, and phone. Yeah. And you can see this is actually object of person class. This is also object of person class, and this is the memory location. Yeah. So now let me quickly show you how you can set these properties with the help of constructor, which is actually the ideal way. So again, I will go back to our project. I will create another class called class demo3, and I will remove simply these methods are not required. I will be using a few different methods. So let me simply delete everything. So it's a plain person class. Now how do we create the constructor? It's just like you need to say def, and for constructor you need to call a special method called underscore init, okay, and underscore. So this is how you will create the constructor of a class. So let me just print a hello world, or I will say hello Python. Why I'm giving you this, let me run this program, then you will get the exact reason why I'm writing hello Python. The moment I say x equal to person, okay, person is the class, okay, I'm not calling anything, I'm just doing a right click, run as class demo3, and you can see we got the hello Python. So what is happening actually, the moment I create object, this constructor is getting called and this set of statements is getting executed. As of now I have only one statement, which is hello Python, but if we have other statement, that will get executed. So this constructor will be invoked automatically the moment you create an object. Okay, so let's say I will create one more object, which is y. Again I will say person, pair of parenthesis, run, and you can see I got hello Python. Now let me create this as a parameterized constructor. Okay, let me give this as f name, which is first name, and this is last name. So this constructor is accepting 2 arguments, first name and last name, and based on the first name last name we will simply change our print statement. So I will just say hello f name, then I will give a space, okay, and then I will simply give l name. Now this time when you create object, I will say x equal to person. Okay, I'm not passing anything. Okay, just simply right click and run, and you can see we got one type error. So what exactly it says, this constructor which is init missing 2 required positional argument called f name and l name. It means this constructor is expecting 2 additional argument, first name last name, which you are not passing. That's the reason we are getting type error. So I can pass here. So the first positional argument is Mukesh, second is Otwani. The moment you run this program, it will call this constructor. Mukesh will be passed here, Otwani will be passed here, and you will get hello Mukesh Otwani. Right click, run as, you got this, right? So this is how you can create a constructor, you can pass these values. Right now we are not storing these values, we are not setting up these values. So in case if you want to set this values, or you want to get this values as a property, what you can do, you can say self dot, okay, I'm just using some variable. Let me use same variable fname equal to fname. So whatever values I will get, okay, I'm assigning into fname. Same fname I'm assigning to fname variable. Okay, so is it mandatory that I should use the same? No, I'm just keeping it same so that you can easily understand. I will change it now. Just understand this principle first. So I will say l dot self dot l name equal to l name. So this time, or maybe just let's change this. Okay, I'm keeping this x and y. Let's say f and l. Okay, so whatever values I will get, I will assign here, and whatever values I will get from L, I will assign into L name. So actual value that we have passed here, right, that got received into F and L, that we are passing into F name and L name. So you can see now we are getting error. Why? Because now it is not able to understand from where to get this F name, from where to get this L name. So whenever you have to access the property from that particular object, you need to always say self dot f name, okay, and self dot l name. This time when you right click and run, you get the same output. Just to make it simpler, I just changed it so that you should not get confused. You can write this variable whatever you want. It's not that you need to give the same thing. Here also you can write anything. Let's say I want to write name 1. Here I want to write name 2. So this value will be assigned into name 1, name 2, and then I will say from this particular object, give me name 1, and from this self means current object, and give me name 2. Yeah, we got the same output. So generally we don't give this kind of name 1, name 2. So I will change it to f name and l name. Yeah. Fair enough. Now before we end this program, let me tell you final point. Like, is it mandatory that I should call this as a self? Like, can I write something else? See, self is just I will say a keyword now. Okay, when I say keyword, it's not something reserved keyword. It is just some random string I have given. I can write Mukesh here. Okay, it means I will use this Mukesh everywhere. Okay, to refer the current object. It should be the first argument of your method or constructor. Now this time when I say internally object of this class will be passed, which will be stored into Mukesh, which is actually self. Okay, so when I say from this particular object give me first name, from this object give me last name, and then I will use the same. This time when I run, you get the same output, right? So it should not be self, but yeah, if you see the official documentation or professional code, people write self, but it can be anything. Self means the current instance of the class. Okay, just to make it more clear, let me create one more method here, and I will say sum. Okay, and this time let me accept two numbers. Okay, and I will do the sum, and finally I will return the values. So I will just say variable 1 or variable 2. So I will say self dot v1 equal to v1, self dot v2 equal to v2. Again, I'm using same variables, but it's not mandatory. You can have anything here. You can have xy, and you can pass xy here. Yeah, so the moment you run, you will have two more variables called v1 and v2 that will have the actual value. Finally, I will say return self dot v1 plus self dot v2. So it will do the addition, and finally it will return the result. Now this time if I have to print, I will say print x dot sum. I will pass two numbers, 89 and 98, and it will simply call this method, receive this value, and it should give me the output, yeah, which is 187. Now why I have created this? Because I want to show you how it works in the debug mode. So I'm adding once again one breakpoint at this particular statement, which is statement number 14. Right click, debug. Okay, so right now you can see we don't have anything, because first it has to create object, then only we will get everything, right? So as of now I don't have anything, I just have the spatial variables. Let me simply step over. The moment I execute this, you can see we got x, which is nothing but the object which belongs to person class, right? And if I go back to console, I already got Mukesh Otwani, because we received Mukesh and Otwani here, so it says Mukesh Otwani. Now this time let me step into this method, okay, which is sum. So just step into and go back to this. Just notice here guys, right now whatever values I have passed, right, the values which I passed here is 89 and 98 that we got into this x and y, and you can see, sorry, yeah, x have 89, y have 98. Right now this v1 and v2 is not even created because I have not executed. The moment I say step over, can you see we got v1, and the moment you expand this, can you see we got v1. And the thing which you have to notice here, that this v1 belongs to this object. Yeah, I hope I'm able to make my point. The moment I execute another statement, I got v2. v2 also belongs to this particular object. It means x and y is not bound to this particular object, they were local variables. But when I say self.v1, v1 is part of this object now, okay, v2 also part of this object. The moment I say self.v1, it says from this object get the v1 plus self v2, from this object get the v2, which is 98, and finally it should return you the value, yeah, and we should get the output, which is 187. Yeah, so this is what we covered. We discussed what is object, what is class, how to create methods, how to create object. We discussed about the constructor, we discussed about the difference between function and method, and we also discussed about the self. Okay, so I have few more points that I will be discussing in the future videos or the upcoming videos. Okay, so in case if you have any other issue related to this lecture, please let me know in the comment section. And if you want to send any other query, feel free to send me an email to my email, which is mukeshotwani@learn-automation.com. In the next videos, we'll talk more about the object-oriented programming concept and few other things from the Python side. So that's all I have for this video. So if you are new to this channel, then please make sure to subscribe this channel, hit the like button, share with your friends, and I will see you in the next video. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.